Everyone, I'm Rena Ninen. Thank you for joining us. President Trump is ending his week, much like he started it, with attacks on Democrats who seek the full Mueller report and with threats aimed at Mexico over illegal immigration. The president did not make good on his initial threat to close the border, but he told Mexico he'll place tariffs on cars if they don't do enough to stop illegal crossing. The president also issued a new message to those seeking entry from the border.
The system is full. Can't take you anymore. Whether it's asylum, whether it's anything you want, it's illegal immigration. Can't take you anymore. We can't take you. Our country is full. Our area is full. The sector is full. Can't take you anymore. I'm sorry. Can't happen. So turn around. That's the way it is.
Meanwhile, the president's personal lawyer is playing defense over Democrats' request to release Mr. Trump's tax returns. William Consovoy sent the Treasury Department a letter Friday telling them not to release them. And he said that the requests are, quote, not consistent with governing law and do not advance any proper legislative purpose and threaten to interfere with ordinary conduct of audits. Consovoy wants the Justice Department to weigh in before any decisions are made. And that's the same Justice Department who's facing a battle over releasing the full unredacted Mueller report. Attorney General William Barr is set to testify on budget matters next week before members of Congress, but it remains to be seen if he'll even engage in any of the questions about the special counsel. Barr has promised to release a redacted version of the report by mid-April. Democrats want to see the entire thing, the whole thing unredacted, and now have the authority to issue a subpoena to do so. President Trump today tweeted on the issue, writing, "I have not read the Mueller report yet, even though I have every right to do so, only know the conclusions. And on the big one, no collusion." Likewise, recommendations made to our great AG, who found no obstruction. Well, the spotlight on this fight will intensify this week after we learned that some on Mueller's team were not happy with the way Barr summarized the special counsel's findings. I want to bring in Natalie Andrews. She covers Congress for the Wall Street Journal and joins us now from Washington. So, Natalie, I want to start with the tax returns. There are reports that the president's willing to take this fight all the way to the Supreme Court. Are Democrats ready for that long battle?
Yes, I spoke to Richie Neal, the chair of Ways and Means, on Thursday, and he outlined that he had talked to attorneys before issuing this request for Donald Trump's tax returns, and that he had done so in a way that he felt would go favorably in court. So Democrats made this request looking ahead, preparing for a months-long court battle, and feeling as though the request they made, which draws on a 1924 law that goes back several administrations, obviously, it's almost 100 years old, but they're feeling that their ties to that will help them in court, but they're definitely expecting a court battle over this.
So when you talk about the Mueller report, what is it that Dems want released, and what do they believe that they can extract from this report that hasn't been public?
Well, they're hoping to look at maybe what Barr said and what Mueller said, and if there's a difference in those two, they want to know about it. And they want to know, say, the grand jury testimony. Were there things that Barr concluded in his summary that Mueller did not? They really want to know why Mueller did not make a conclusion when it came to obstruction of justice, and that he left that up to the Attorney General, who had written a memo in the past saying that he didn't feel as though the president should be indicted. And they know that the Attorney General has a different thought on executive power than, say, Democrats do, especially with Donald Trump in office. So they want to find the in-between there, and they want to see the report, see the conclusions that Mueller made himself, and not rely on the summary from Attorney General Barr, given that he is a political appointee.
So we know Barr's going to be on the Hill. He's going to be testifying on budget matters. We know that there'll undoubtedly be questions asked about the special counsel. Do you think he'll engage with those questions?
You know, we'll have to see. It's the first time that lawmakers will get to engage with Barr since the Mueller report came out. And it seems as though it's going to be whether Democrats and Republicans will ask the questions the public wants to know, or will they stick to the matter, the reason why Barr is on the Hill, and that's to talk about the budget and DOJ. And at this point in the news cycle, we're not looking at the DOJ budget as much as people want to know about the Mueller report, right? So I imagine he'll get asked about that. We'll have to see if he engages and how much he's willing to chat. But it certainly seems that Democrats will ask him directly.
I want to talk to you also, Natalie, about immigration. The White House sued the Trump administration Friday over the president's emergency declaration to force funding for a border wall. Now, in this lawsuit, the House sued the Trump administration. So the lawsuit doesn't actually mention Mr. Trump as a defendant, but instead members of his cabinet. So what's the strategy here that the House is trying to achieve, particularly the House Democrats?
They're really trying to look at the Constitution here, which gives Congress the ability to appropriate money. And so Democrats keep going back to these provisions in the Constitution that they want to draw on. They don't want to be seen as attacking the president, although this week we saw subpoenas, we saw several oversight matters that Republicans certainly objected to as attacking the president. But Democrats are relying on this constitutional provision that says Congress gets to appropriate the money. They say that Donald Trump, by declaring a national emergency, but his administration, by wanting to use the money for other projects than Congress appropriated for, that they have grounds for a lawsuit and they want to fight that.
And also,
we'll have to see it play out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. The president announced also on Friday he's withdrawing his nomination for the director of ICE for Immigration and Customs Enforcement, Ron Vitiello. Here's how he explained this.
Going in a little different direction. Ron's a good man, but we're going in a tougher direction. We want to go in a tougher direction.
A tougher direction. What kind of ICE director is the president looking for?
I mean, the president is facing a surge of border crossings, which he's obviously not a fan of, and said on the clip you played a few minutes ago that he wants to stop that. And it's believed that he's looking for someone who is going to be tough. Stephen Miller, his top immigration advisor at the White House, reportedly did not like the acting ICE administrator. So you're maybe going to see someone who lines up more with Stephen Miller's views, someone who's much more of a hard line on immigration, and someone who also can take those ideas, and he's going to have to at some point be in front of Congress and talk to Congress about that, someone who can withstand that from House Democrats.
And we also know that Republicans on the Hill have taken issue with the president's tariff approach in the past. Are they taking this latest threat to tax cars from Mexico seriously? Do they believe that the president will actually act on this?
I talked to a lot of Republicans this week about various ideas that Donald Trump had floated when he talked about closing the border this week. I chased Republican senators around and asked, and Mitch McConnell was very forthcoming that this was not a good idea, as was Senator Ron Johnson. These are people who have mostly aligned with Trump on policy type things. But when it comes to tariffs and when it comes to things that affect the economy, this is when you see Republicans push back against the president. And it seems with tariffs, they're going to push back. They're not going to like this. They're going to feel that it will hurt the delicate balance in the economy, especially closing the border would be detrimental likely on the economy, per what lawmakers are saying. So they're going to push back. Also, putting a tariff on cars at the border could violate the new trade agreement that the president just set. So
a lot of people are wondering about that as well. Natalie Andrews, I want to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.